Right then, on to the main topic of today, and I'm going to be doing a bit of a love reunion with Honda. She's not been out with me for a while. I've just been fettling her. She's had a full service. She's been sharpened, greased up to within an inch of her life. Changed the oil. I just need to top up the petrol, and then we're good to go. Toon's just reminded me not to forget to press her nipple before I try and start her. Yeah, I haven't used her for a while, so I'd have probably forgotten that anyway. Right, I'll just show you where we're going to be working today. Here we are, out in the lush weed field. Here we've got our rows of eucalyptus, a little bit of corn, and the rest is just the odd bits and bobs really, fruit tree wise, and then behind that we've got about 160 bamboo. The subject I'd like to broach today, guys, is what should we be using, chemicals or digging by tractor or by hand. So about 10 days ago we carried out a little bit of an experiment. I know, it's another first on our channel. Toon sprayed I know, she sprayed weed killer around some eucalyptus, and me and Caesar ripped that shit up in some other lines. So we're presently looking at Caesar lines. I'm going to go and show you how effective the spraying was by Toon, and then really, you know, let's try and make a I wouldn't say yeah, maybe slightly educated decision on which is best or which is most viable. Of course, in an ideal world no one would use chemicals, but let's see if they can play or should play a role on our farm. So here's one of the rows that Toon sprayed. You can see it's been pretty effective considering it's been about 10 days and we've had a fair bit of rain afterwards. That's not too bad, and nice and clear around the eucalyptus. Now, casualty wise, a few did get sprayed, and then I put my foot down and insisted that Toon replaced them herself, so that'll learn her. But if you look on the ground, it's cleared it quite well. Now this sort of weed, I always call it a soft leafed weed. It's very fast growing. The few bits that Toon missed over here, I'll show you what they're like. They're incredibly easy to weed by hand, but of course we've got so many, and normally if the soil was a bit damper these would pull out a lot easier by the root, but you can see there's not a lot to them. The weed killer is supposed to be systemic, but I'm not so sure whether it's going to kill everything or not that it's actually touched. So not bad if she hadn't have missed this skinny line out here. Okay, that's what happens when you spray them, so I need to have a word with her afterwards. So there you go. So there's a little bit of counterproductivity there. Then I'll show you Caesar and what she did. So I only went up, this would have been one run. I think this one was 2 runs. The problem being with using the tractor is you can't get in between the eucalyptus, so they're 1 metre wide, and then the rows are 3 metres abreast of each other, so you are left with these strips down the side. So there's the first drawback. Now Caesar is a lot quicker than Toon humping and dumping a big spray tank behind her, but what you have to add on to that is, what are you going to do with these middle bits. This one has just died on its own. That hasn't been sprayed, so that will need replacing. We've had some hellishly hot days in between the rain days. So what I've done this morning is trimmed these bits. Now you can use your job as well. You could use that instead of trimming, or what I'd like to do is use the job and scrape round each plant. But again, these are soft leaf weeds, so I'm not too bothered. So to me, that I'm fine with that. But time wise, you put the tractor in with your trimming and it takes a lot longer than the spraying. Price wise is up as well, because you've got the diesel for your tractor and then you've got your petrol for your trimming. So time and price is up. Benefits: the soil's in a lot better condition, there's no chemicals in there, and of course everything that gets dug in and trimmed becomes organic matter. So now, if this was food or crops for consumption, we wouldn't be using any chemicals. So we've got some corn coming up. I know you like my finger pointing. Oh, I can't see into the sun. I'll just have a quick wander over there. Here's your corn. Doing very well. It's been in about 3 weeks now. The leaves have been nibbled a little bit, but we haven't sprayed them. But you can see they're just about holding their own with the weeds. Now this particular situation is built for just doing it by hand with a job just straight down the middle and both sides. What I could do is get Caesar in and do, oh no, I can't do another line because we've got the eucalyptus here. So again, limitations, it's the width of your tractor that holds you back sometimes. And of course with Caesar we've had to put on the rice paddy wheels, which makes it even wider, so then your ploughing discs are further away from where you're trying to weed. So you can only get line up your rice paddy wheels so they're almost touching the plant. So your rice paddy wheel would be about here, and then your knives are kicking in, or your discs are kicking in there. So you can't get any closer than that. But the thing is, when you got a garden, we tend to have zero tolerance to weeds. When you've got a farm, it does initially, it feels like an absolute full-on, full-time battle against them. But once you've been doing it a little while, you just think, hang on, they're not actually hard, you know, depending on how big they are and what they are, and what you're actually growing, and the stage of growth of your crop, the weeds don't actually affect them a lot of the time. It's just a matter of keeping on top of them. So I like trimming, but it's bloody hard work, and of course in the middle of the day it's just no go. I did 2 rows in about 40 minutes and had to bin it. I went over to where the road is over there, and I did a bit in the shade. So I'll go and show you the difference of what working in the shade is like compared to out in full sun. Here we go then. This is sort of like our tractor entrance that we've left open. So down here we've got a double width row of eucalyptus just on the other side of this corn over here. My finger pointing is patented, by the way, no copying. And there's another one there. So this will be the road, or temporary road, that they can use for digging the Barra Bloody Monday pond, and then we'll put another row of trees down the middle there, probably fruit trees. So in here, these were planted about a year ago, quite slow growing. It's not our fault, it's just that they're in the shade, but we wanted a bit of a token gesture of a boundary on our land, so we've slipped in three rows of eucalyptus. Now you can see before I got Honda in there, this is what you're up against, guys. So it's not for the faint-hearted, strimming. A lot of people don't like doing it, and when people have gone past, they're like, what is he doing strimming? Crazy phalang. Why don't you just spray? I don't like spraying, not unless we have to. Toon has sprayed in here once before and it worked well, but not as well as strimming in my book. And of course you can see there's quite a lot of stuff that's going to rot down for us. It helps suppress the weeds. Now this thing about pesticide use in Thailand, I was asked by a few of you to elaborate on what I touched upon the other day, what I'd read online. And what I've done, fellas, is, well, not just fellas, is it? I've just copy and pasted. I've cherry picked the bits that really stood out to me. There's loads and loads more literature online about the use or misuse of pesticides in Thailand. I'll just give you a bit of, an insight to the surrounding areas and the use of chemicals and how it affects us here. So behind us here is the main road. Okay, so at the moment we're looking at cassava. There's about 3 or 4 farms opposite us. As far as you can see there, it's cassava. And then just where there's a gap there, someone's just harvested corn and they've planted corn again. Then it's corn again, and then it's sugarcane. Absolutely every crop you see here, as far as you can see, is sprayed. Cassava is sprayed early doors with weed killer and vitamin, and then later on same again, but quite early on when the rains come and they just get going, they get sprayed quite a few times. There was one farmer, he sprayed twice within about a week, and he said he'd been missold some imitation chemical. So that sort of thing is going on as well. Okay, let's have a look at I'm not going to walk over there, it's too far in this heat. Okay, over that side you've got cassava running all the way down our side of our left hand side of our land, and then there's a big patch of rice and there's another big patch of cassava. Right at the end we've got cassava, and then to the right there's sugarcane, then rice, and then sugarcane level with our house. Absolutely everything is sprayed. Nothing gets sprayed once. There's normally weed killing, and there's normally bug killing, and there's normally like a fertilizer as well. There's weed suppressants, there's the whole works. Okay. I mean, I'm stood here now, no one has sprayed today. It's been 2 days since someone sprayed. I can still smell it. Yeah, they were spraying their rice 2 mornings ago. Wind direction is just pushing over from the rice paddy. You can smell it. So how's it affecting us? Well, the animals, depending on wind direction, sometimes we've had to run outside and get some sort of like quite fine netting and throw it over the houses just to try and stop some of it coming through. But I know some of it will be getting the vapour in it, will get through. Sometimes you walk through your land or next to someone else's land and you can feel it. It gives you a headache. It's not nice. Now, of course, well, Lee, you moved into the bloody Thai countryside, not countryside, but where people are, you know, farm intensively. You should have expected this. Yeah, but until you actually live somewhere, you don't see the frequency that people spray. It's incredible. Rice is by far and away the most heavily sprayed crop around here. Now, we have sprayed our crop once. It was coming under attack by grasshoppers. We used the correct chemical at the correct dosage, and it honestly did fix it. Didn't feel good using it, but at the time, we can't get the ducks in there at the moment. It's just not safe for them. There's a lot of dogs round. We're currently considering trying to trying to find the finances to uprate our fencing. Although we've got 6 dogs, they're not always present, and there's a lot of other dogs that have started to turn up and they're having a sniff round where we've got all the poultry. Before, it was just, you never saw another dog, but I don't know whether it's because there's a few on heat and they're out and about, but Klopp's doing his job. He's chased them off a few times. Sidetracked, can't remember what I was talking about. Oh dear, I think I've had too much sun. Haha, ducks in the rice paddy. Yeah, you can use them. They won't eat your rice while it's young, but of course you've got to be with them all day that they're in there. They will clear your grasshoppers for you, but you need a lot of ducks. We have got a lot of ducks, over 130, but you have to create a temporary walkway for them in the morning, shepherd them out, stay with them, and then walk them back in the evening. Vince and the other 2 geese wouldn't be able to go out there because they would have the rice off the tops of the plants, whereas the ducks only have it when it falls out as a seed onto the floor. So that's not an option at the moment, and I wasn't going picking grasshoppers in 3 rye of rice. I don't think my goat soap and cooking oil mix would have worked. I'd love to be able to say to you guys that we don't use chemicals anymore, or we aim never to use them again, but it's just not going to happen. Yeah! I'd love to stand here and tell you that we're not going to use chemicals anymore, but at the moment, guys, it's just not viable. We will use it in certain situations. So areas like this, if you strim it, well, I've strimmed as much as I can, but there's a lot of rock in there and the rocks go flying. I've got my safety glasses now, but it trashes your blades as well. And you can't get a good enough finish, so sometimes I've strimmed it halfway down and then toon sprayed it. Trying to balance the land out so we can strim more, but it's the time factor as well. That's the problem. We've only got so many hours in the day. Yeah, if we had more money coming in, then we would get some more help in. Currently we still only use Toon's friend Pioi now and again when we get a big project where we need a bit of help, a bit of a push. But until the farm starts producing, it's really down to me and Toon to keep it going. But I'm quite happy with the strimming. It's just that I've got another 11 lines to do here, and then there's about 50 lines to do at the far end of the farm. But it's still early days, isn't it? Here we go then. Another guaranteed first for not only our channel, but also the whole of YouTube. I shit you not again. What I've done, and maybe I should have asked you beforehand, I've transported you 3 days into the future. Okay, now, don't be too miffed, a lot of people have paid good money for that. So what's happened in 3 days? Well, I'm going to walk and talk you through the weeding and the growth of the sweet core. What else has been happening? The channel is now sponsored by Didu Ice Poles, and all I have to do is give them a quick plug at the start of every video. So Didu, the only pole a man should suck on. Right then, let's have a look. It's so hot. Right, after I left you last time, I'd done the strimming, but I then started to weed by hand with the job, the big hand trowel or two-handed trowel along here. Now, Toon's helped out today. I would say collectively we're about 2.5 hours to clear all this. Okay, now I did say to Toon maybe we should look at it's like a strimmer lawnmower. It's basically a strimmer sitting on two bouncy wheels. I'll try and dig out a photo of one they sell local to us. I think they're about 3,500 baht, something like that, depending on what size engine you have. But the width of it, again, you cannot get very close to your crop. So when you do by hand, I reckon you can't get a closer finish than that. Yeah, there's a few minor little weeds there, but we're not into a manicured garden finish. We're not after one of those. We're just trying to stop the weed suppressing growth of the corn. Now, it is bloody hard work. There's no two ways about it. I mean, for 2 rows of corn, you got 3 lines of weeding to do. What I've also done, I challenged myself to try and get as close as possible with Caesar, and this is it, guys. It's a good, what I would say, it's getting on for 2 foot away. So not very close. Okay, it's probably double the width than it would be if we didn't have the rice wheels or the paddy rice wheels on there. But some of the soil is so soft down there where you can see some water near where mow is just disappearing on the right. We'd just get stuck in there. So the rice paddy wheels have to come on, stay on, which means we can't get super close. What I like about doing it by hand is you get a lot of the stuff out by root. You spread it out early morning, and then the sun just bakes the shit out of it. And then of course it's gonna dry up or rot away. But there's so much, so much. But there's no way, like I said the other day, that they were going to use chemicals anywhere near. Now, one of you guys did point out, I can't remember if it was on the channel or on the Facebook, that it has been reported that some Thai farmers, and there are probably a lot of farmers over the world, I dare say, use a lot of chemicals for crops that are edible, that are sold onto the wholesale and onto the public, and they grow some for themselves which have no chemicals on. So I think that speaks volumes. Now what I thought I'd do is a bit of a recap. Hang on, I've got a suck on me dee-doo. It's already melted. I can highly recommend them. About 1 baht each. Get them by the box load. Yeah, a recap. I totally get why everyone sprays so much. Hang on. They should do a 12-inch dee-doo, really. That would hit the mark. And why do I get it? Well, to me, it kills weeds for longer. You can get very close. It's more cost effective. So you can see I've tracked it again. So there's diesel again. Man hours, it's taken, well, man and 2 hours. It's taken us out of action for quite a while. That's the equivalent to paying someone for half a day, really. But I suppose where we've clawed back a bit by sticking the tractor in here, we've now got our next 2 lines for growing the next batch of corn. This is about 3 to 4 weeks old, and we intend to every 3 to 4 weeks is plant 2 more rows in between all the eucalyptus along here. We'll eat a lot of it. We'll keep the seed, and Toon will sell a load on the motorbike around the village. That's the idea. So yeah, I get it. It's not something that I like to see. It's not something. It's certainly not something I need. I like to live near. But if you look at the description, I strongly advise. I think it might be a bit of an eye opener for you to read the description. I know a lot of people don't bother. They just want to watch the video and then shoot off, or add a comment or a like or whatever. But that's not a plug for liking. but you may be surprised the average earnings of a Thai farmer. But probably more shocking is the average debt of a farmer. Remember, a lot of these farmers don't actually own the land that they're working, so they've got to pay rent. So you imagine paying rent, then start-up costs, getting the machinery, preparing the land, paying people, and you only need 1 or 2 crops to fail, and they're in real deep brown stuff. And a lot of them don't recover. There's so much bankruptcy, it's amazing. It's another thing, or it's another subject altogether, but the ease that people can borrow relatively large sums of money out here when their income is almost nothing is just mind-blowing. And the amount of people that are in real big trouble. But yeah, it's scary. There's some really, what should I say, there's a fair bit of loan sharking going on, that's for sure. Some of the rates are just bonkers, absolutely bonkers. You know, and no disrespect and none meant at all, but a lot of people around here can't read and write as well, so God knows what they're signing up to. But bit of a tangent, guys. So thanks for watching. Hopefully it's been a bit of an eye-opener. I'm sure you all prefer people not to be using chemicals. It makes me worry, not so much Toon worry now, but every time I pick up a bloody corn on the cob or some fruit or vegetables that look absolutely mint, you know that they've been sprayed to an inch of their life. So the least you can do is wash it, guys, and no matter how clean it looks, eat plenty of garlic and chilies. Mind you, even chilies now. I was reading one report. They've got high levels, well, not high levels, but they've got levels of toxins in them from chemicals, from overuse of chemicals. I mean, goodness sake, we're growing chilies and nothing eats them apart from ants. So, I don't know, perhaps if we're growing about 50 rye of chilies, I may look at things differently, but herbicides and pesticides and numpticides, it's all out here, it really is. So what the future holds, I do not know. I'd love to be able to stand here and tell you that we're doing everything organic. We're gonna, what can I say, we're gonna work towards it as much we can. That's all I can say we can do, really. Yeah. I'm happy with what we've got. It's hard work, yes, but it's healthy, and I don't know for sure whether the soft weeds are inhibiting growth on something like eucalyptus. Eucalyptus is bloody nails, it is really hardy, apart from that dead one there. And in fact, some areas where you get really high weed growth, depending on what you're growing, it actually benefits the plant because it's getting a lot of the shade from this bloody relentless heat and sun. So I know that at the moment it's the best time of year for growing stuff, but it's the worst time of year for weeds. When we get to the dry season and you rip this shit up, nothing will be coming back until the rains come, that's for sure. So it looks almost like an impossible task at the moment, but later on down the line it won't be too bad. Over here I threw Caesar in where Toon had been spraying. Now I have noticed after another 2 or 3 days that a few more eucalyptus have died, so she's up to about 10 deaths in the sprayed area. She replaced 7 or 8 the other day. When I got the strimmer out, I must confess I did give 4 a haircut, and weeding the corn by hand Toon chopped about 6, I chopped 1 I think. So there you go. Again, thanks for watching guys. Remember, you've just been in Lee's time machine.